Once the opportunity arose for him to close the show, he did it in emphatic style.
Whatever he hits falls.
This IFL TV, MTK Global. What are you going to play us?
How's things?
All right.
You good?
Well, that was it. You can sit down now if you want.
My musical abilities are limited, but I'm more of a piano man.
Can you show people the back of your hair, please? That's what you're doing to it.
Yeah, it's going a bit longer. I spent the summer on the beach and became a surfer, and I grew the hair.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Should we sit down? So I don't want you
let's
standing
sit
up.
down. Let's take a pew.
Do you know what?
We'll sit over here.
Pull a chair up here.
I'll tell you what. Let's just go with it normal. Come on. Let's not get too fancy.
If you could sit there, that would be great. Away from the...
Absolutely cool.
There we go.
Sit wherever you need me. At least I've got the piano in the back.
How are you, Kalle Sauerland?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah? What's new?
Yeah, well, little press conference to kick off the super lightweight final today. Prograis is here, Taylor is here, and we have a great final. It's very, very exciting. I mean, it's people talk about fights of the year, and I get the hype at the moment about Joshua Ruiz. Of course, it's heavyweight's always a very special thing, and that was a big upset, and that's a huge rematch now. But if you look at the, let's say, abilities of these two fighters and the matchings and the excitement of the super lightweights, this is the creme de la creme. I mean, we always said WBSS is the Champions League of boxing, and for me there's no bigger fight in boxing this year than this one. This is the one. Out of the three finals, this is my personal pick. Now, some people might say Inoue Donaire is a very interesting one as well. Breeders Dorticos, also very, very interesting. We know what they both can do. We know how exciting as cruiserweights are. But this is the one, that's really drawn me. I've got to say, this is the one that's really got me personally as a fan. Like I said, others might like to see Inoue Donaire, but so do I. But this is the one that I personally pick of the three.
Kalle, what can you really tell us? I know there's probably stuff that you can't tell us about kind of the complications you had prior to this fight being made about Regis Prograis.
Stop you there. So the complications in any fight in boxing, right?
That were made relatively public.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways of doing things, there's ways of trying things, and it was very clear in the speed that there was a lawsuit against the WBSS, and I think they reacted with an iron fist, and the lawsuit must have been the quickest lawsuit in history. I think within a week there was an announcement that he was back in, so, but it was the same with Baranchik, wasn't it, in the semi-finals, and it's funny that when fighters have to travel, it's always, especially when they're champions. Don't forget, both Prograis and both Baranchik were not champions going in. And I get the mentality. I'm not blaming Baranchik or Prograis for trying, because the mentality of a fighter is he's got one career. He's not a footballer. He's not on salaries. He's got to maximise his earnings. Totally get that. The thing is, when you look at it, you go into the tournament and you build value. The tournament builds value for you. It invests very heavily in building that value. So when you get to the final, or when you get further down the line and you've entered as a non-champion and suddenly you're a champion, you have a different value. Of course, you have a different value. So you're gonna try and achieve that value, but a contract's a contract, and a contract is what it is. So it's very, it's fair enough what people try. I think there's a gentleman's way of doing things, there's a non-gentleman's way of doing things, and I'm not going to say more than that. How's the weather?
Okay, the weather's not great here, but it'll do. Is this kind of something now you will be looking to do? All your other shows, I believe, have been kind of WBSS shows.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're partnering up now with Matchroom to put this final on the card.
The move always, at the end of the day, it's nice when, big investors come in and there's putting on shows here and there, but at the end of the day, it's also a financial model. So this is a pay-per-view fight. We work with Matchroom and Sky Box Office to put that on as a pay-per-view fight in the UK. Such is the market in the UK. We look to put it in the States. Last year we went to Saudi Arabia, went to Moscow. We're going to Japan for the other final. So, it's putting it on the biggest platform possible, and it's also monetizing that. It's a business. It's not a charity. It is a business. Like anything, the Champions League of football is a business. So you look at, in the market, that's the situation, and we work to the best of that situation. So I think it's you can't ask for a bigger platform than being on a box office in the UK, DAZN in the US. For me now, the home of boxing in the US, and I don't know, I've got countless countries around the world in the O2 in London. I'll see. So that's delightful.
Yeah, but I was just pointing out, I feel like you're very defensive today, Kalle.
It's still early for me.
It's still early. I know. No, I was just saying that obviously they've all been all your own shows, but for the benefit of this one, you thought this was the best decision to kind of...
Yeah,
for it to be on pay-per-view as well.
There was a few things. The venue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the venue, we felt that it was a fight that London was a suitable venue. It was a great venue, especially the O2 for me. For boxing is one of the best venues in the world, if not the best. And yeah, it was quite a simple decision to make. It's quite a simple decision to make.
With your old pal, Fast Car as well, so.
Yeah, it was good with Fast Car. We've worked for years together, and it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to put deals together. Yeah. I mean, we did the semi-final was on Sky. Explaining it with the setup, the semi-final was also on Sky.
Yeah.
It was on Sky. I don't know what it's called these days, Freeview or non-pay-per-view or on Sky. And there, of course, was a WBSS setup. This is a box office event, so of course it's there's also Chisora Parker on the undercard, and those fights to have in a WBSS ring and setup would also be a bit odd. So it's fine. It's cool. It will look great on the night, and there'll be certainly some WBS feeding to it as well. Still be the music.
What can you tell us about kind of venue and locations for the other finals now as well?
For the other finals, so Japan,
yeah.
Obviously November 7th. That is I had to double check the calendar. That is a Thursday night.
Thursday night, I was going to say,
interesting
yeah.
things in Japan. Great country. We went to Tokyo for the quarterfinals, and this is in Yokohama. Sorry, this is in Saitama, about 45 minutes outside of Tokyo. Massive venue. Inui, once again, the tournament, what it does for fighters, this Champions League. Inui started obviously came from that big win against McDonald, but he rose through the tournament to, I know there'll be arguments about this, but for me it's pound for pound number one. There is, if you're going pound for pound, it's not about, what is a more glamorous weight class or this or that, or, who's earning more money. It's about who's the best boxer if you stripped it down pound for pound. It's not better than Louis. No one. Look at that level of opponents at that weight he's fought, and look at the time. You're not talking how many rounds. You're talking about how many seconds. I mean, his last fight, Rodriguez, the semi-final. I mean, it was like it was a game, And it's Rodriguez. Ask Paul Butler about Rodriguez. So, it's. The level is
Bob Arum was kind of before the Lomachenko fight was putting out the idea of
Lomachenko, great fighter, no doubt. Usyk, great fighter, and every week we'll talk about a different fighter. Of course, you've got different tastes, but okay, let me change it then. Pound for pound, number one puncher then at least. Yeah, we'll settle for that. Most exciting fighter in the world.
Is there any legs in that? What Aaron was talking about, possibility of Lomachenko and Inoue? That he'd like to see that.
Promoter.
No, I know, but I'm just talking
with the
as
WBSS,
a
it's not-
fan.
I'm not a promoter. I think Inoue beats Lomachenko. I think he goes to town on it. I mean, anyone he lays a fist on, and the weight is not, he's not going to go and fight.
Goes to town on. I like that.
I tell you, Inoue, the power's frightening. It's really frightening when you see people who've held their own over, Rodriguez. How many wars has he been in? Wars with great fighters, and he hasn't, and this kid looks at him, and pings him out. I mean, it's phenomenal. Sushi power. I'm going to change my breakfast. It's like, I go to the gym every day. You look at him, look at me. So he put a hole through me.
When's the last time you
went through two of us?
Yeah, probably.
Stand like that,
No, not
right
probably. Definitely. When's the last time you went to town on someone?
When I went to town on someone, that's been a few years ago, mate.
Is that German North London talk for batter
batters
someone? Basically he batters someone.
Many moons ago.
Yeah? Street fighting.
But it's been certainly less moons than someone went to town on me.
Yeah?
All good. All good. I've had the nose straightened a few times.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
No,
Don't
I'll
spoil
walk
it.
out of here probably get changed. But no.
Anyway, if you have acne, you just call your cousins in Colombia, didn't you?
Promote me. Yeah.
Bring up your cousins in Colombia.
I'll bring my uncle over next time.
There you go.
Uncle Pablo.
Let me ask you about Joshua Ruiz landing in Saudi Arabia. I know you're an international man within the boxing field. Yeah. A lot of people, can you see both sides of it as well?
Listen to this. Are we politicians? No. Are we in a business which is funded in some way, shape or form by taxes or the state? No. So is it Eddie and Anthony's right to choose to go to where the biggest money is? Absolutely. And don't give me this shit about this and human rights and this, that and the other. Do you know how many human rights? Okay, we're going to Japan. What about the whale hunting? I mean, what do you want to say? Go to America. I think there's a lot of people would say, well, you're promoting America. The human. You know what they did in Guantanamo Bay. What do you want to do? You know what they did in Vietnam. This is boxing. This is privately funded. Anthony's got one career. And in that career, he has to maximise his earnings. That's what it's like I said, it's not the Premier League. It's not football that's funded at the grassroots level. The funding in boxing is bollocks. It's shite. It's non-existent. So, if we were taking taxpayers' money and saying, if Anthony and Eddie will Matchroom or AJ Boxing, we're going to Saudi Arabia with taxpayers' money, I'd say open up for a public discussion. This is not public discussion. Mind your own beeswax, right? That's their money. They're putting on the show. If you want to watch it, buy it. If you don't want to watch it, don't buy it. End of. End of discussion. And I don't understand the big thing about it. When we went to Saudi, the people there, the local people, and you'll justify this. I'm not talking about, I don't know hierarchies, I didn't meet many of them, but the local people, you'd be surprised. Proper fellas out there.
I loved it out there.
Yeah, it was well.
I got involved in the attire.
I missed the pint. I must admit, but
that is what it is. That's their culture. We go out there and respect that culture.
Yeah. I mean, well, look, we can get into a whole different debate there. We'll do that and that off camera. But for me, this is a business decision. This is not about this and that. And of course, I'm sure Eddie will be selling it as we're going to go to the desert and this, that, and the desert storm or whatever it's going to be called.
Clash on the Dunes.
Clash on the Dunes. It's and at the end of the day, it's a neutral venue. So it's even better. It's a neutral venue. It's if anything. I mean, Anthony, I know he's originally from Nigeria, but he's a Finchley boy. It's going to favour Ruiz because of the weather. You know,
the heat. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be Finchley weather. So Finchley, North London, that is. So you know.
Were you just telling me where Finchley was?
Your viewers, maybe they, I don't know.
Oh,
Everyone's
right,
from
okay,
London.
sorry.
You have also a
Northwest
public.
London. Yeah.
Northwest London. Northwest London.
North.
Yes.
Is it north or northwest?
It's north. Like
Ah.
You know? If you're in Finchley, you've got to go.
You go.
Not much in Finchley.
Interesting, but like I said, ultimately you're right. It's like people kind of saying, I think people are probably just disappointed that the fight was talked about happening in Cardiff, 90,000, and then that didn't happen.
Shall I tell you something? You know, when that fight happened, for me, I didn't think about Saudi, of course. When I saw the fight, I thought he's got to go back to the same ring,
I thought that.
Same place, and do this. He takes him to Cardiff or Finchley. What sort of revenge is that?
Yeah.
And it's rubbish. You know, there's no storyline to it.
Yeah.
This is taking him to a neutral venue, and it is neutral. So it's a great story. It's a great story.
Just moving on, we're going to see someone obviously you've worked with very closely, Alexander Usyk, make his heavyweight debut finally against Tyrone Spong in Chicago.
Interesting fight.
Yeah.
Interesting fight.
Very interesting.
Spong I know very well. He trained in our gym in Berlin lots of times. Almost signed him. Then he 3-4 years ago.
As a boxer you signed him?
No, almost signed him as a boxer 3-4 years ago, I think it was. Had the contracts on the table, and then he changed his mind in the last. He kept on doing that. He came to promoters, wanted to box, and then he would go back to where did he go?
Kickboxing.
Chick noise fighting.
He fought in Glory, didn't he?
Yeah. Not my cup of tea. Chicken noise fighting.
Okay. But how do you think he's going to kind of fare in the ever thriving heavyweight division there?
The thing is, as a boxer, he's the best already now in the heavyweights. There's no one that can touch him for me. Tyson for me is the best boxing brain out there in the heavyweights. Best skill, if you like. And the most knowledge. Generations of fighting family and you know all that. But Usyk is for me the slickest. Right? Tyson I think would admit himself that he's not the slickest, he's the most skillful, Tyson for me. But Usyk's the slickest. But Usyk gets hit a lot. And Breedis really hit him, and Breedis is a puncher. And he was okay. There was a couple of times where the knees buckled, but it was no major wobbles. It was a real war. Hook hit him. Hook's decent puncher, Marco Hook.
Usyk beat Joshua for you?
What?
Would Usyk beat Joshua for you?
In heavyweight, there's always. I'll take away that. Let's say the lucky punch, yeah, because there's always a lucky punch. Anthony can knock anyone out with one punch. Yeah? So can 95% of heavyweights. If I take that away, Usyk wins. He's simply.
Because that's realistic to happen, isn't it? Now he's number one.
This is a guy who's been fighting all his life. I don't know when he started, but it was certainly a long time before Anthony, and he's got a lot more pedigree. That's the reason. If he was, let's say, 5 years down the line, maybe different. Anthony's, by his own, often says in interviews, he's still learning. So yeah, for me at the moment, Usyk would win. Yeah.
Kalle, I know I've got to move on from you because there's a lot of fighters here to interview. I would like to really.
I didn't know they were more interested, man. That's good to know.
Well, it is about the fighters, really.
I know.
And I would genuinely
I'm not
like.
saying nothing. I'm just having a laugh.
I'd like to. No, I know. But are you coming to grab Kalle? Why? Right.
Josh Taylor. Yeah, he's
No,
important.
literally like 3 minutes. Tell him.
Josh Taylor's important. Very important.
No one is more important than you, though. I just want to point out. No. On IFL, no one is more important than you.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Kalle, are you already kind of working on the next series? now.
So you're already working on the next film.
I don't know what films you're talking about.
Oh, cool. Let's not go there.
Let's not go there. Are you already working on the next series?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Heavyweights, possibly?
I'd say that at the moment it's such a. I mean, they've already signed the fights for next year,
Of course.
2 parts. So, I mean, what would be interesting would be sort of the guys outside the picture, but it would go a little bit away from the best versus the best. We try and set out to do at WBSS. So there's some interesting weights there. Flies, super flies looked at, obviously light heavies. I look at them every year. Middleweights potentially. Female. I'm actually Prograis-Taylor and all that.
Has that been talked about? Yeah.
Etc. Absolutely. Yeah. I'd love to do the female.
Yeah. A woman's one would be great.
At the moment, I've got the mandate on the males, so I'm fighting to try and get a female tournament together. I think that would really the whole female and outside of WBSS promoted for years to see Aj-Ruiz and Clara Svensson, a lot of Scandi stars in boxing.
Just finally, something that is about to blow the WBSS tournament out of the water very soon is the MTK Golden Contract Tournament.
I've seen it. Actually, my brother has a couple of fighters in there.
Yeah,
so,
very exciting tournament.
I think the concept, and I've always said this, and there's obviously levels of tournaments, and but it's always about, for me, the format. You can go back to the prize fights at the days of Matchroom.
Yeah.
They were exciting, and tournaments make storylines, and storylines make it, make the promoter's job redundant because you build it up, and I think the storyline factor will be a good success. Prize of a contract, and it's great, and to see, MTK from
You work very closely with as well, Kalle.
Yes, absolutely. Very good friends of ours. But they go from strength from hour to hour, second to second. It's phenomenal, and it was it really because it hasn't. How old is MTK? 5, 6 years, and it's the biggest managerial firm in the business now. So exciting. I think a lot of people say, "What's the next move?" Because it's so big now. So back to your original question. Sorry. I think it's great. Anything like that's great for the sport. And the one thing I'll say about them as well is they put a lot of money into the sport. They invested a lot of money into the sport, a lot of money, and you can see that by the fighters they sign. And I hope that they recoup the money sometime because boxing is a very tough business. But it's great to see the investment going on also at grassroots level. The amount of young fighters coming in, very good. Look
forward to it, and it's hopefully about to be announced as being broadcast on Sky as well. So
really,
yeah, just obviously Eddie Hearn was talking about it last week that he wanted to put the tournament on. So we'll get an update from him today. So hopefully that does land on Sky.
Yeah, and like I said, storylines.
Absolutely, baby.
Absolutely.
Kalle Sauerland.
You get on to the more important people. Thank you very much, Kugan Cassius.
No man can refuse a request on his daughter's wedding day.
Exactly.
Don Kalle.
We should have seen that on screen.
Top man. Thank you, mate.
Soon, yeah? Take care.
The opportunity arose for him to close the show, and he did it in emphatic style.
Whatever he hits falls.